What's up, everybody? Y'all are listening to another episode of the Juicebox Heroes podcast. Excuse me. I'm one of your hosts, PK, and as always, we have the Dubon Fan Club president, Mr. Moreno, and Mr. Sweet Bee Bones. Bryles, fellas, how y'all doing?
Man, it's another day. Good to see an Astros victory today. It was a rough series against the Giants. We'll get into it. And we got ourselves a Little League victory on, what was that, Monday? Yeah, I think it was Monday. So there we go. Doing fantastic. Bryles, how you doing, bud?
Doing great, man. Literally took the words out of my mouth. That was a perfect intro into that, especially with securing the win today in a day game, which was the Twins home opener. So I know we're talking about that. And yeah, we've got a lot to look forward to. How about you, PK?
Good day. It was a good day. Like I said, the Astros won today. So that's always a good thing. Little volleyball this evening with my daughter, getting ready for our tournament this weekend in Dallas. So final tune-up for her before we head out of town for a few days. So all in all, it's good. Again, it's better when the Astros win. They did win today 5-2 over the Minnesota Twins. Hunter Brown looked like Hunter Brown. I saw some pictures, some videos of his pitches, against Ryan Jeffers and made that guy look absolutely, embarrassed at the plate. So good for the Astros to get some runs. Hey, we scored more than 5 runs, fellas. Or more than 3 runs.
There we go.
So, we're on the up and up. Brendan Rodgers had a freaking day. He came through today. Walker went yard. Pena went yard. So maybe it's Daikin. Maybe it's the renaming of the stadium's fault.
I don't know. They had problems winning there last year too. So
that was last year. Why are we talking about the past? Keep bringing up the past.
I'm just saying. The proof is in the pudding. But yeah, I mean, so I over the last couple of days, I've interacted with a bunch of people, talked with people at work as well, and I think I'm at the point where I feel like, of course, this is before we went into today. Today was a much needed win. It was a much needed awakening of the offense. But leading up to the game, I was pretty much at the point where I feel like we can be on both sides of the spectrum. Like we can be on the side of the spectrum where we're like, hey, it's 6 games out of 162. It's a long season, it's a marathon, all those cliches, right? But I think we could also be pretty upset with how lackluster this offense has been. I mean, you could be pissed off about the lack of offense and still be like, well, it is early, but I'm also disappointed with the way that the offense has started the season, because the bats were just not existent against the Giants. It was just like it was frustrating, and it was very hard to watch them consistently not hit with the base with men in scoring position. Just not hit in general. Chase pitches that are 7 feet out of the strike zone. Jordan looks like this is they basically looked like this is the first time. Like last year was like a strike year, and nobody ever picked up a bat until opening day. That's what they kind of look like. And again, I know we're going to get some people that are going to say, man, here we go. It's only been 6 games. But I mean, again, I feel like you could be on both sides and be like, yes, it's only been 6 games, but this is not the offense I expected, when, going into the season. That's just me. I don't know how you guys feel, but like I said, that's just me.
Well, I saw it today, it looked like the bats woke up. So I think that's going to be, something really, really nice moving forward if they can keep that momentum going. I mean, I know they're right now in Minnesota. High today was 45 at the game. So they need to take one out of Pedro Serrano's book and put hats on bats to keep them warm. So other than that, though, yeah, it's of course, everybody can be, as an Astros fan, be upset, like you were saying, at what happened on the Giants series. But at the same time, if they can progress and actually do what they did today and look like a more cohesive baseball team, then I think we're going to be just fine. I mean, don't get me wrong. Now, we are going to see much better pitching than that moving forward from our opponents. But if, they can get lucky and run into a few like that monster crush by Christian Walker today, man, did he get a hold of that. Him and Pena both. But anyway, seeing that and then seeing Brendan Rodgers come alive, because we know that in the past he's been more of a career, light hitting second baseman more than a power hitter. So, getting those guys going, and then getting our regulars like Jordan, getting his bats to wake up, that would be nice too. So, and of course, Altuve, as usual, is just doing Altuve things, and his batting average right now is right where it needs to be.
Yeah. No, sorry. I was looking up something for later on. But I think I agree, Chris, like 100%, where you can still be really pissed off about watching a terrible offense, right? But also not freak out because it's, 6 games into the season, right? I mean, you're expecting, I think we all were expecting, to come out hitting, to not look. You won the series against the Mets by scoring 3-2. They scored 6 runs, right?
Yeah,
Something
6
like that.
runs total.
Six runs, and we come into the Giants series, and we did our predictions last week, and we were all wrong, obviously. But that was I'm gonna tell you something, dude. That kid Hicks, Jordan Hicks,
yeah,
filthy. I mean, the Houston kid. I mean, dirty. Like really, really freaking good. So that was Logan Webb. Logan Webb's Logan Webb. I mean, I thought that coming off his last start that he had against Cincinnati, where he got a little bit touched up, a little bit. I thought we were going to be able to capitalize on that. Clearly, we didn't. But that was a pretty good rotation that we saw. But no, I do think that I think you can be frustrated with the fact that we scored 5 runs today, and we're pumped about it. That's where we're at so far, right? We've scored 5 runs, and we're like, hell yes, right? So we know the bats are going to come around, but I think we all expected a lot more from this offense, from the jump, just based on the signings that we had. And I mean, our starting pitching has been so freaking good, and we talk about it like we did last week or last episode, where these guys have to go out and pitch so freaking good, and their margin of error is so small because it makes it more difficult when the offense isn't helping them out. Thankfully today, the bats woke up a little bit, and we got that dub. So tomorrow we're off, which really sucks because these 2:30 games really kind of screw me because I forget until I see the stuff on Twitter, and I'm like, oh crap. So, but they are off tomorrow, and then they'll be back at it Saturday. But man, it was good to see a win. It was good to see Walker get his first bomb. I mean, that's what we were expecting. I mean, had that guy come over and take some moonshots. So, does anybody ever notice when you're watching Jeremy Pena? And I really don't want to sound like I don't know, Debbie Downer or negative Nancy. But have y'all noticed that when he makes contact up until today's game, that a lot of his balls are choppers, like they're just infield choppers, or two hoppers, and it's like it's really frustrating to see. And like I clearly I'm not a major league hitter or anywhere close, but I feel like there's got and I know he's probably working on stuff, but it feels like there's a lot more choppers off of him. That he seems like he's right there missing it, but they showed some side by sides where he closed his stance, or he was a close stance last year. Now he's open, which I feel like it should help him see the off speed stuff a little bit more, but I think he's still swinging at the same stuff. So it's these low and away sliders. I think that's the scouting report. I can see it from my couch. I mean, just keep throwing it.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a little bit more stand up in his swing right now in his batting stance, but hey, he's still the leader in the clubhouse with home runs. So, I'm not going to sit here and nitpick his swing.
No, I mean, I just noticed like there's a lot of choppers, and I feel like he's on top of the ball a lot.
Well, I mean, also too, I don't mind the choppers if he's beating them out. So,
well, and that's what he did last season, right? It seemed like, he hit a chopper and then he's flying down the first base. He's beating them out. So, and it wasn't trying to be negative. It was just like I just noticed that a lot of his contact was, just these choppers. So, but with his speed, he can beat them out. So, or you can have 3 infielders stare at the pop up 10 feet in front of home plate and everybody point. You can do that.
Yeah.
So,
well, you can.
But yeah, no, it's like again, it was good to get a dub today. Hunter Brown's looking good. I mean, our pitching's looking really freaking good. I mean, even though Fromber didn't have a good outing in the first 2 innings yesterday, I mean, he still ended up pitching pretty damn good, after that. I think overall our our starting pitching's been the shining star so far. Don't y'all agree?
No, yeah. I mean, when you saw Hunter Brown give up the 2 runs. I think that was like what in the first or second inning. And I'm sitting here watching and say, I'm thinking to myself, okay, is he going to implode or is he going to bounce back? And I mean, like I said, he bounced back. I mean, and it was like after that, he was just kind of like, all right, I'm going to just start mowing everybody down, which he did. I mean, like he had guys looking stupid chasing, change ups, and then he's just completely throwing gas to the next hitter. I mean, but yeah, absolutely. I mean, like this whole season so far, these 6-7 games, the MVP, is definitely the starting pitcher. I mean, I will tell you this: Josh Hader looks so much better today than he's looked the last 2 times he's been out. I mean, it was 1, 2, 3 done. I was like, I almost forgot. I'm like, I haven't seen this version of Josh Hader in a minute. So, but yeah, I mean, he looked a little bit more comfortable. It's just again, it's nice to see an all around, complete victory instead of it being 1-0, 1 for 16 with runners in scoring position. I mean, like they got up by 2, then Minnesota came back and tied it, and then they did stuff that we're used to seeing the Astros do. They score, the other team ties it, and they're like, all right, cool story, time to stop, playing with my food. Then they put them away. Hader comes in, does what, the $95 million that we paid him to do, 3 up, 3 down. And it was just like, oh, all right, well,
that was
didn't walk
easy.
anybody? No. Oh, all right, cool. All right, sweet. So yeah, I mean, like it was definitely like a good like bounce back, type of game today. I mean, like you could nitpick, but from what we've seen in the last 2 series, I mean, there's really nothing. I have no complaints about how today went.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing really too much to complain about. I totally get it, and yeah, I agree. I think the starting pitching has been pretty lights out as far as everything is concerned. If I am going to be critical of it at all, it's that we've had a lot of early traffic on the base paths, and they've kind of had to work into a groove to actually settle down and then go a little bit further in. The only one I would say that we didn't have a problem with that is with Arrighetti. Arrighetti looked absolutely fantastic. And hopefully that was a way that his season's going to be moving forward, and that's what it's going to look like. But yeah, that's really it. I mean, a little bit of early traffic, gave up a couple runs here in the early innings, on almost every game. But as far as that's concerned, if we can come back and get the bats moving like we're supposed to, then that's not going to be an issue. And then Chris, just like you said, it's like this bullpen looked really good today. I'm hoping that it's going to keep moving in that direction as well. And yeah, we're just going to keep on rolling.
Yeah, because we followed this series up with the Mariners, right? Monday through Wednesday, I believe, and then we come back home for Friday for the Angels. So, 2 division series coming up. We always have to handle our business within a division. It's like that for any team. But yeah, we need to finish this series off. We need to win this series. So with Friday being off, it really kind of sucks because now what the hell am I going to watch, right? But what do we look like for the rest of the series? What do you think? We were way off last week.
Yeah, I mean, like I think our record with Minnesota was kind of the same going into the series, and I mean, like I said, I think we matched up well against Minnesota. I mean, we're very familiar with them. We saw them in the playoffs a couple of years ago. I know it's a little bit of a different team, but I mean, you look at this Minnesota series, then you go to Seattle, and then you look at the Anaheim series that's coming up, at the end of next week. I mean, these last, what is that, 8 games? Yeah, 8 games.
There we go.
It's a very like doable 6-2 stretch. I mean, Seattle's still doing the same thing that they've been doing. Offense has been struggling. I haven't really been keeping up with the Angels. I know that they're maybe a half game above us is because of the slow start that we got. I mean, but I would be okay with a 2-1, series win, get out of Minnesota, and then go to Seattle where they continue to boo Altuve and he just continues to hit home runs against their pitching. So, but yeah, I mean, essentially when we get to Seattle, that's going to be a battle of extremely cold offenses, outside of today. But I think 2-1 against Minnesota, then I can see another 2-1 against Seattle as well.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I think it's going to be a 2-1 split of the next two games. I think we end up winning the game on Saturday with Arrighetti on the mound, and then I think we're going to try to be scrapping it out on Sunday. The one thing I will say about this, to your point, PK, is I don't understand why they schedule Minnesota home games this early in the season when there's still a potential of snow and they've got to get creative with the start times and all that kind of stuff. So it's like 3-day games in a row. It's like, 3-day games with the day off on a Friday. So anyway, I don't get it. I'll stop complaining about it because nobody's going to listen to me anyway. But yeah, I think we go 2-1.
I listen.
I appreciate that. But yeah, I think they handle the business with Arrighetti on the mound. I think the Ronel Blanco game is going to be a battle one way or the other on Sunday. So I'll go 2-1 as well.
Yeah, I like the 2-1. I think it's pretty. I think we can pretty much lock that in. But I think that winning a series after getting swept at home, winning a series on the road, going to Seattle, like I said, to a division opponent. I mean, that's the kind of momentum that you want to have going into, an early division series. So, we'll see what we have in store, what they have in store for us, coming up over the weekend. We did get some news right before, we saw it right before we went on that they shut down Luis Garcia for 4 more weeks. Not something you want to hear, but maybe if our medical team could help us out there, that'd be cool. Because I think he was shut down 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks ago that he got shut down right at the end of spring training? Yeah. He got shut down again, and then they just said again he'll be out for another 4 weeks. So, I think with the depth that we have at the moment, you take your time with him, which they should be taking their time on all these guys. But I think you just take your time with Garcia until don't rush him back. We've got McCullers waiting in the wings. He's got a couple more rehab starts to go. Let's see how he bounces back after his. Definitely some discouraging news for Garcia, though. I mean, I know that, I think I'm sure he's been working his ass off to get back here as quickly as possible. But, definitely some crappy news to hear, shut him down for 4 more weeks. But, we'll kind of see what happens with that, here in the future. So, do I have anything on that one?
No, I mean, like, I agree. I mean, I don't think there's any reason for you to rush any of these guys back. I mean, Javier as well. I mean, you've got enough arms down in AAA Colton Gordon pitched another great game. AJ Blueball pitched a great game down in AAA. I mean, so you have young arms that you can do. You still got Ryan Gusto. You can bump up the rotation.
You can spot start him,
Yeah, I mean, I think Lance McCullers will do a second rehab start down in Corpus this weekend. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to rush these guys. I mean, you have enough to get by. I mean, like I said, everything that we've seen. I mean, the worst start you got was Blanco. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, so everybody else has been kind of legit. I mean, you've had one bad start. I mean, Frommer gave up 5 his last start. I mean, but it's nothing that I would be like McCullers. You have to be back by next weekend, or the season's in jeopardy. So, but I agree. I wouldn't rush any of those guys back, especially with the history this last season is with people's elbows and arms and stuff. So, or necks or shins. So,
yeah. When you said people's elbow, I went straight to the Rock for some. I mean, that's all instantly went to the Rock. I know you weren't trying to go there, but that's where I went.
Well,
I mean, I figured you would have, done that. But anyways, so we're seeing a lot of Brendan Rodgers starting at second.
I like it. I like it.
I wasn't really expecting as many starts from him at second this early. For some reason, I just I figured there'd be more of a platoon, with not so much Altuve, but more of like a Dubon, because that kind of sounded like over the spring that was want to get Dubon on the field more. He's a better defensive second baseman. But I'm liking the Brendan Rodgers at second. Like, I'm really liking it. And then, he backs it up with today. I know it's one game, but he backs it up with today. And I'm starting to like that little lineup that they're putting out.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan that they sat Jake Myers. But I guess you got to give somebody an at bat here and there,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I agree. I thought it was going to be more of a platoon between him and Dubon, and the fact that he is the starting, that they've treated him like he's the starting everyday second baseman. I'm good with it as long as he continues to. Again, you're not going to go 3 for 3 every single game, but as long as that there's not those huge droughts where, that batting average starts to dip underneath 200. Because like I said, I like Brendan Rodgers, and I feel like, and I think you and I talked about it. I just felt like, being in Colorado and, that team really not doing everything that they could do to win. I would assume that kind of weighs on you. So
right.
So I'm hoping now that he's with the group that wants to win, and he'll have a good breakout season, and maybe he won't go somewhere else next season. So
yeah. Well, he's on a prove it.
Well,
he's
got to prove it,
Yeah, he's definitely on a prove it deal, and like we've talked about, he's a Gold Glove second baseman. So we knew that defense was going to be there. My biggest concern with him was he's always been a light hitting second baseman, and a light hitting second baseman that predominantly played in Colorado. So if you're a professional baseball player and you're in Colorado, you should be hitting the ball. So
yeah.
Well,
anyway.
But you can look at Trevor Story, though. Trevor Story mashed in Colorado. Granted, he can't stay healthy, but he went to Boston and he's on the back of a milk carton. So I would rather the reverse. I'd rather him not do anything in Colorado, come to Houston, tear it up, even if it is for one season. So
I agree 100%. And he's that's where I was getting to the positive part is like he's absolutely tearing it up compared to what I was at least expecting from the plate. So, if he can continue doing this and keep that, stellar defense going at second base, let me tell you guys, he's not going anywhere. He is locked in at second base unless he needs a day off and Altuve says, "Hey, I'm playing second today," or Spada wants to get Dubon in or whatever the case may be. But yeah, if he can keep this up, he's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, no, and I like it. It's still, I think for me, any ball hit out to left field, you're kind of like, oh, a little bit anxiety with, but I like the Brendan Rodgers in the lineup. I like him at second base. It's going to be pretty cool to see what Espada does, how much rotation and platooning he's going to do with, getting other people at bats. So, but definitely like the Brendan Rodgers so far. You want to talk about these? I don't know if y'all heard. There's these things going around MLB called torpedo bats. Have y'all heard about this?
Yeah. No. Yeah. I heard it. The word on the street is they're coming to Houston. Come
next Friday.
Home opener next Friday.
Good. The 11th. So yeah, I'm Chronicle quoted Espada Wednesday. Yesterday, the Astros will begin experimenting with torpedo bats. And their team begins the next homestand on Friday, April the 11th. So yeah, there's that. We'll see if that has any, helps. I guess they're gonna look, man. And I'm gonna say this because it's just more of a baseball respect I have for baseball. Even though I can't stand the Yankees, but Aaron Judge doesn't use a torpedo bat. And he hit like 3 bombs or 4 bombs in two games, right? And then you have someone like Jazz Chisholm, who one day hits 3 bombs with his torpedo bat. The next day he goes over 3 with 3 Ks, gets the golden sombrero, right? So my thought is if you can hit with whatever you have. You can hit with the original wooden Louisville bat. You know what I mean? Like this torpedo bat. Yeah, you got a bigger mass area for you to make hard contact with, but if you can hit the ball, damn it, you're going to hit the ball, right? So cool for you to experiment with it. I think it's fun to talk about. But I mean, maybe if they get these bats and they start mashing like 98, mashing minus the steroids, then I'm like, hell yeah, bring the torpedo bats on. But I think it'd be interesting to see. It'd be cool to see the players hit with them, here in hometown. But I was curious to see what y'all feel about those torpedo bats and Houston experimenting with them.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you got to make contact with the ball first, no matter what kind of bat you're using. Regular bat, torpedo bat, metal bat. No, if you're swinging at 3 inches off the plate or 4 feet off the plate, doesn't matter what bat you're swinging. So and I get it. I mean, it does make the sweet spot of the bat that much bigger. Again, I'm not one of these MIT nerds with all physics and all that stuff. But I pretty much I agree. I mean, if you can hit, it doesn't matter what you have, whether it's a torpedo bat or a regular bat, you're going to hit regardless. And I just think that like what we're seeing is, I mean, I would assume that the Astros thought they were going to hop out into this season and mash, like they kind of did, in spring training. And then what you have is the mash should not really happen. So then you have guys like Jordan, you have guys like Pena that press because they put all that pressure on themselves I got to get the offense going. And then they expand their strike zone. And instead of just, like I said, you get 2 strikes, take your normal 2-strike approach, and I think they're just pressing way too much. Now, again, they could bring in these torpedo bats and, win 27-3 on Friday. And we're all like, oh man, I always knew that the torpedo bats were the way to go. But,
yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, if you can hit, you can hit. I mean, it is what it is. And I'll pass it over to Browse.
The way I see it is if we can take advantage or gain an advantage by using the torpedo bats legally, which MLB's already said this is a legal bat, then yeah, I bring them on, man. And I know that, the reason it's taking so long, obviously, other than other teams and players ordering them, is they're supposed to be like custom made for each individual player and their swing. So, where the weight distribution is. So I don't know what it takes to, get one of these things made or to get analyzed, your swing and all that stuff and get it taken care of. But yeah, if it helps and it wakes up the team and, all of a sudden they get a hot streak because of it, dude, bring that on. We'll take those all day long. And then just wait. As soon as we do start using torpedo bats and then start going on a hot streak, everybody's going, oh, the Astros are cheating again. You're not going to believe it. They're using illegal torpedo bats.
Or they're gonna make the bats illegal, right? Like as soon as the Astros go on the street. But
we're only good because of the torpedo bats,
right? But I did hear that this morning, Bryles, that it's not so much that the Astros weren't interested in using the torpedo bats earlier, but that the distribution and them actually producing the bats, like that is the reason, or one of the biggest reasons why, we're getting them at the next homestand. Because like the question was like, okay, well, why don't you use them in Minnesota or Seattle? Well, I just told you, right? Like it's kind of like a custom made, bat to specific. So that's why it takes it. Plus, why the hell not? Why would you, let's get those torpedo bats in when you got a short porch and left in a predominantly right-hand hitting lineup. Just start hitting BBs. You know what I'm saying? So I was just curious on y'all's take. I mean, every fan wants to see bombs, right? They want to see bombs. I mean, MLB as a whole wants to see offense. And I think it's been good, but then you also have this, kind of some scrubs, just, and other teams just, mashing balls. And I'm like, okay, cool. Why don't you get your toothpick back in your hand and see if you can do it? So I'm here for it, man. Let's see some bombs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
Chicks love the long ball.
Chicks love the long ball. I do need to call out one thing before we get out of here. Mr. Moreno has a new hat. Pretty nice lid you got over there, sir. Now, you said that was the moon print on the hat?
Yes, it is the moon print. You can see the craters and stuff. Yeah, actually, I got lucky. The wife was at Academy, and really, I was going to get the blue Stroh's hat that you had, and she was like, "Oh, look at this one." So she FaceTimed me, and I saw it. I was like, "Man, she's like, look, it matches the little moon stuff, that little small stripe they have on the sleeve of the shirt. And she was like, I like this one better. I was like, all right, well, then go ahead and get it. It's fine.
Yeah, it's pretty clean. It's a good look. It's a good look, sir.
I tried.
Agreed.
Yeah. Well, I think we're gonna get out of here in a few minutes. So we will be back on Sunday. So our next episode where we wrap up the Minnesota Twins series, and we look forward to the Seattle Mariners series. Thank you as always for tuning in. You can find us on X at the Juicebox Heroes. You can find Chris at H-Town Warrior 738. I'm at Isaac Texas 22. Browse is at Sweet V Bones. Thank you again for tuning in to Juicebox Heroes. I'm PK. That's Chris. That's Bryles. And we'll talk to y'all on Sunday.
Welcome.
Go Cougs also this weekend, Saturday night.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. They do play this weekend.
Well, Final Four action, man. That's going to be fun.